let's talk about this thing, right? Ooh. I don't know why I'm making ghost noises. So that's a Spire III. First impressions are, I don't know, it feels a little more durable. It feels like the plastic, here's the original Spire, right next to each other. So there you can also see they're pretty much the same size. I mean, anyone who like disputes one being bigger or smaller or whatever, it's very minimal. So anyway, plastic. Let's put that there. The body's different, so it's a little different plastic. I mean, these graphic ones feel a little bit weird, but it does feel like the plastic's a little more durable. Maybe it flexes a bit more, so maybe it's not as brittle, but it's not like the original Spire had issues with the shell breaking or anything, so I don't know, that wasn't a problem. But it does feel a little more solid. They got rid of all the stuff that I didn't like. Maybe not all of it, but and they added some things. But the original problems that I had with the Spire, and for the most part everyone else, that back strap, that thing would always crack right there. Buttons would fall off and then you're useless. You can't do anything. It just doesn't work. So there's no back strap. No back strap. The thing's like all just one, there's just those two buttons there. So you shouldn't have problems with those things, but we'll see. But anyway, no back strap. They got rid of that top shell, so that's gone. So the original Spires, there were these tabs that always broke off. I don't know if you can see that well, but there were those tabs right there that always broke. People would break this back little clippy off sometimes, and then I don't know, both of those things would cause the lid, or the back cap thing, whatever the hell that's called, to not stay on. So they got rid of that. Another thing I don't like about Spires forever have always been the drive cone. I know that's like a part of it, and that's like the deal, like everything's, that's their, I don't know, feature that they like, that they actually have the drive cone. But I just don't like, I get why these are rubber, it's easier on paint, they can like fight through jams if it happens a little easy or whatever, but I don't know, I've never been a fan of the rubber because it just wears out. I mean, you break paint sometimes or just get oil on these, or just through use, the little nubbins wear out. So I don't know. Those are my problems with the original Spire. So my whole hopes with the new Spire was not so much that it would perform any better, but just that they would fix the stuff that broke, really, reality, on the original Spire and 2, and we guess they're calling the 260 Spire the Spire 2, so that's why you get a Spire 3. I don't know, I'd think it'd kind of be funny if in like 2 years they come out with a Spire 2. That'd be kind of clever. Go back in time to the Spire 2. Anyway, so yeah, no back deal, right? So they got rid of that, so that's not a problem anymore. You won't see those flying off. You're not going to break the little tab that hold the thing in place. But so they got rid of that. We'll go over how this opens and everything in a second here. So they got rid of that, but they still use that drive cone, which is fine, right? It's not a bad thing. They just wear out. They still use rubber. I don't know if this is any harder or more durable or whatever, but it is easier to change. So in the future, when you want to change these out, I guess it's going to be easier. But it's not like the old ones were hard. The old ones just kind of came off too. So I don't know. Whatever. So they fixed some of the stuff that broke. No shell, no backstrap. Cool. So yeah, probably the biggest difference between this Spire 3, I'm gonna call it the Spire 2, so bear with me. The Spire 3 and the original Spire, the Spire 200s and 260s, is the shell. So now instead of pushing the lock up, and pressing down. You just press that big top button right there. Is that in focus? Yeah, it is. You press that big top button, shell pops up like that. So yeah, I mean, that's easy. It's not like the old one was hard, but this might be easier to get the shell at least partially open. My one concern is that, like, when I take the internals out of these things, I want to hold it like this and press. So getting the internals out, it's kind of hard to see it freaking deep inside there, but you pull this tab down and then kind of lift, just like the old ones. Tray comes out. But anyway, so my problem with the way this hinge works is that I can totally see people on the field with their hopper open like this. Say you broke paint or whatever the reason is, you need to open and get inside your loader. You're on the field, press the button, open the shell, and here I am. So I always hold these things like this to see I'm going to take them out. So if I press back, and then I'm in a hurry, so I pull, and then I'm hitting this thing all day long. So I could for sure see people going, this thing goes flying, bam. It's 2 pieces now. That sucks, right? Because it's on this hinge thing. So you break that, you're screwed. Your hopper doesn't work. You're gonna have to buy, I haven't completely taken this thing apart, so I probably shouldn't say, but you're gonna have to buy new hinges or something because it's just plastic, so it's gonna break. If I apply enough pressure to this, it's gonna break. I don't like that at all. Really dislike that. So maybe that's a bigger problem than the other stuff that broke on the old Spire. I don't know. But yeah, so tray still comes out very similar. You still push that button, and it just clips in, latches back down, much like the old Spire. It is kind of clever though. The new drive cone doesn't clip down anymore. It's magnetic, so that's kind of cool. It just kind of like plops into place. I guess that's neat. I mean, not like the other one was a big problem. Does come with a spring ramp. That's people's biggest complaints, was that the old Spire didn't come with a spring ramp, but it didn't, and you had to buy it, and it was $10, and that's what it was. I feel like the biggest upgrade or change to these loaders is they use the same gyro, right? So this, you can see that little gray spot right in the front, this thing, right? So every time you shoot, this gyroscope senses the loader vibration or moving, and then fires or spins, right, to feed paint. So now you can see how it's on this little rubber hinge deal. So it moves around a lot easier, so it's going to be considerably more sensitive than the original Spire, which still uses the same gyro, but is like housed permanently in this rigid shell, so it's not going to be as sensitive to shots and vibrations. So yeah, that's the part that I like the most. It does have, they say, upgraded motors and boards and stuff. And we did a quick firing test. So the original Spire tends to cap out at about 15, 16. So if this gun's on uncapped full auto and it just load a hopper, and it seems to cap out at about 15, 16. These, like the Spire III is faster, but still not as fast as like a Rotor or a Z2. These are feeding about 18, 19 consistently, which is a considerable improvement, so that's good. But for most of the people that are buying these hoppers that play tournaments and stuff, that doesn't really matter anymore. It just doesn't. So yeah, but it's good to see. I mean, there were a lot of like scenario rec ball players or whatever, they wanted to be able to shoot as fast as possible. They didn't buy the Spire because they couldn't. So they had to go with a Rotor or a Z2 or, I don't know, now a TFX, something considerably faster. We'll see. Yeah. I don't know, what else? Spire III. Lid comes off different, so much like the old lid, you can still press right there to get the speed feed open, but there's a little slot this slides into, so when you buy the speed feed, you get this thing. You just get the lid speed feed thing. You don't actually get like a whole lid or like the whole back like you used to. But it does slot into a little tab right here. There's a tab that clicks right like that. So it's real easy. It's not hard. So changing the lids is quick. So if you want to play, you know, say you're playing in the rain one weekend, or let's get this out of there. Say you're playing in the rain one weekend, or it starts raining over the day. You can always just quickly change out the lid for speed feed. Yep. It also has that not fabled, but I don't know, low paint indicator, and it's kind of hard to show how it works inside the loader, so I'll take it out because it relies on the spring ramp. So right now battery's in there, turns on, hopper spins, right, and there's that gyro, so we can act like we're gun shooting if we just tap it so it thinks it's spinning. But anyway, so you can see those blinking lights right there. So that right now is telling you that you're low on paint because that spring ramp's all the way up. So if we press the spring ramp down and thinks there's paintballs in there, you can see that the lights start to glow blue. Take it off, lights are red. But right now, the audible sound, that beeping sound, let's turn this off. The audible sound for low paint indication's off. So it's really easy to turn it off and on. So let's start over. So turn hopper on. If you want that beep to turn on, you press a button right there. Beeps. That green will tell you that now it's in low paint, like indication audible noise level. So we have paint in our hopper, blip, 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 blip. We're shooting a bunch, low on paint. You hear that beep is telling you that there's no paint left. So spring ramp up, no paint, beeps. It's pretty simple, so it'll save that mode. Like I turn the hopper off, and when I turn it back on, it will be in that beeping mode for low paint indication. Okay, back to this thing. Phone rang, I had to get the phone. So you don't have to have the tray out to turn off low paint indicator. You can do it right there on a new button. You can see that bad boy right there. So there is a new button on this thing. If I hold that down, beeps, goes green. So right now, when I run out of paint, we'll pretend paint's full, shooting low, beeps, tells me I'm out. Yep, and if I hold that again, it'll turn it off so it won't beep. It's also kind of a force feed thing, so if we want to load something without shooting or whatever, you can press that button right there and it loads. I should also say it doesn't continually pulse, so if I stop shooting, I stick my finger in there, it thinks we're not shooting, and then I shoot, then it'll start pulsing. Then it'll stop again and start again and keep doing that. Yeah, so they also have, there's those LED indicator lights right there on the bottom of this bad boy that you can see blinking away right there. We're gonna stop that. That's probably really loud. Yeah, so LEDs right there on the bottom. You can see them sort of in there. So my one gripe is that when it's actually on the gun, I can't see them. So when I'm shooting and my head's in line with the marker and everything, and I'm getting bad guys, I can't actually see it. I have to kind of like cock my head to the side to be able to, or put it up, or you know, some weird angle to be able to see those lights. So if you want to use that low paint indication, you really need the beeping, or you're never gonna know. But at this point, I'm turning the thing off. I'm never looking at those lights. I just don't need it. It's not a feature that I like. Yeah, so it's cool. But overall, I think that, yeah, it's a better hopper. They kind of took all the things that I didn't like, so they got rid of phone again. 1 second. Okay, people are trying to call me like crazy today. And now this phone's going. So, yeah, it's better. So they kind of took care of all the things that I didn't like. Kind of, right? So they got rid of this deal, so you don't have these tab problems anymore. So that shouldn't fly off simply because there isn't one. There's no more back strap. There's just the buttons like we kind of went over. It's having focusing problems. So yeah, just buttons. But still uses that rubber drive cone that I'm not really that big of a fan of. Yeah, I don't like that hinge thing. I feel like I'm gonna like yank it off or hit it when I'm trying to unload my load, when I'm trying to take out the tray to fix something. I do like how it comes with spring ramp. That's good. We also like that, I don't know, new gyro setting. But I'm still not a fan of these rubber things. So yeah. But overall, it's definitely a better hopper. It's an improvement. Whether it's worth buying if you have a current Spire, I don't think so. I mean, it's better, but yeah, I don't think it's leaps and bounds better. Unless you just want something new, you know, I mean, that's fine. But if you're like, I need the, you know, it's so much better, that's not true. But it does feed faster. If you need it to feed faster, I guess. But if you wanted a hopper that fed fast in the first place, I feel like you should probably just buy 3 things. One of the rotors, a Z2, or a TFX. All 3 of those still are going to feed faster than this thing. Yeah. So I don't know. It's good. We like it. It's an indefinite improvement. Spire 3. There it is.